as we recently just returned from a trip down in Orlando, and we had opportunities to visit Animal Kingdom and the Magic Kingdom itself, which is perfect timing because we have a few questions today about the way that romance and relationships are depicted in Disney films. That coming up on episode 6 of the I Love You 3000 podcast.
Welcome to the I Love You 3000 podcast, an authentic way to uncover the best ways to host an event. Husband and wife team Bradlee and Melissa of Phony Stark Industries will share years of experiences with all things event related, because planning an event is more than just a solid guest list. It's about the trends, details, and beautiful relationships that move an event forward. And that's why you'll find them to be good stewards of all things called advice. So your guests walk away feeling the true passion and best of what life can bring when you celebrate together. Now here's your hosts, Bradlee and Melissa.
Thanks for joining us again on another episode of the I Love You 3000 podcast. As always, I'm Bradlee.
And I'm Melissa.
And we are happy to be here with you today. And we have some fun discussions and topics to talk about. Of course, we will be hitting up our tips, our trends, and then we will talk for a little bit with some questions that have come in with a Disney theme. So we're looking forward to that because for those of you who don't know, Melissa and I don't know, what is the term? We're Disney aficionados, fans.
Fanatics.
Fanatics, maybe.
Yeah. We like Disney a ton. Our first trip together as a couple to Disneyland. We went to Disneyland in this picture right here. If you see us with our friends, the Walsh children, and then that's Kathy and Mark Reeson, and we surprised those kids with a trip to Disneyland on Christmas Day. That was our first trip together as a couple.
In college, we continued to go. We looked at these pictures, man. These are wild. Yes, I'm rocking the earrings. That doesn't even look like me
No,
anymore.
it does not look
What
like
is
you at
that?
all. It does not at all. But that was a fun trip too with our people we worked with in the summertime.
Then as we started adding members of our family, we continued in our Disney adventures.
And there's with our with
Catherine.
Catherine. Sorry to my kids. That would be, yeah. And then
We added Emily into the
they-
mix, and she came with us. Then eventually,
there's Hannah in there too. You know, never wear white when you're in the sunshine. We learned that in pictures and big family photos together when we went with family.
and of course, we love our time as a couple, and we still continue to love our time.
So that one, so all those were Disney, and then you hit Disneyland, and now you're gonna hit Disney World. So
And our most recent one from just last week, and loved it. I love this picture, actually.
I do, too.
It turned out pretty darn good.
That does look really good. I think we did
So
well.
yes, we certainly do love our time at Disney, which is fun. And so we're looking forward to some topics about the way that relationships and romance are portrayed in those Disney films. So we will get to that here in just a moment. But starting things off, it is time for our tips. Again, these are just pieces of advice, things that we see through our experience with working through numerous clients and things that often might get overlooked or just simply not thought about. So Melissa's going to hit us up with tip number 11.
Tip number 11, have 3 different pairs of shoes. I'm not just telling you this because of a wedding. I'm telling you this because I have actual certain shoes. I'm going to throw this in with Disney. I have to wear a certain pair of shoes when I go to Disneyland/Disney World, actually any amusement park. So I know that shoes are important for different occasions. I never wear something brand new and you're going to get blisters. But with weddings, it's important to make sure you have different shoes throughout the day. I'm going to speak on the bright side, especially to that side of, you're going to have your shoes where you actually have the ceremony. You're going to probably want something when you want to be comfortable. Maybe you're just like going from place to place. Sometimes for a lot of people, they never have worn heels that much and then decide on the wedding day to wear heels, and then you realize those are uncomfortable. So make sure you have shoes that are comfortable even for that first part. And of course, when it comes to dancing, make sure you have comfortable shoes. I love the trend of having sneakers. I think sneakers are the best, and I will tell you, all bridesmaids are happy when they get sneakers. I actually have bought a pair for myself just because they are very comfortable and they're great to have. They have little rhinestones all over them too, so they're way fun. But I say definitely make sure you have 3 different pairs of shoes. Even flip-flops are good too.
True.
So,
And now on to tip number 12. This one is important for both the bride and the groom. Go ahead and put some lotion on your hands before you walk down the aisle. Okay, it helps you feeling too clammy and sweaty, and it also will make sure that the rings slip on nicely so you don't have any of those weird, awkward moments as you're trying to get a ring to budge onto somebody's hand.
I also want to reflect back to remember if a few weeks ago we talked about the right scent to wear too. So make sure it's a lotion. You want to probably have a non-scented lotion when you have that on your hand too. You don't go grabbing cucumber melon or or some apple kind. You don't want that to mix with your different scents that you have with your cologne that you had a few weeks ago when we gave that tip.
Excellent point. I like that. Good thinking.
Yeah, I try.
Hey, it works. You do well.
So back now, let's jump to our trends. What are we talking with trends this week, Skinner?
So it's going to be a little bit different this time because we are going to be hitting up our ins and outs. So what is a trend that is currently in that we're seeing more of, and what is a trend that is on its way out? Again, this is off of what we're seeing not only locally, but nationally. So we're basing these off of things that we're seeing in numerous other markets, and these are often happening before they hit our market here. So we're just giving you a little insight and some things to consider. So our first trend. Now this is one of those things, as we said, we were talking stuff about Disney. So when we were down at Disney World this last week, due to rain, we were not able to see the new drone show. So we do have a little sneak peek of what it would have looked like if we had a chance to see it.
And that's at Disney Springs for people if they were interested in where that is. So show us a sneak peek.
Now, why are we talking about that? That is because one of our trends that we are seeing, because cost is coming down, because you have noise violation issues with fireworks, that we are actually seeing drone shows being featured at weddings.
Look at that. They've added the sparklers to it, which is another time we're going to talk a little bit about sparklers and that trend. But I love, for those who, if you're just listening to it, you can't see this, but we showed a picture of a heart, just a drone show of a heart or a dove above the couple in the nighttime sky, and have some beautiful photos with it. It's pretty cool. We, on our in our business right now, we do not have drones, but I'm sure
we do use them for our wedding films, but
Yes,
certainly not for an entertainment drone show. It's
No.
a very different thing, but we are seeing that in markets, that it is taking place, and it is on the rise. So that is a trend that is in.
And we'll discuss that before we decide to add that to our. We're not jumping on that yet, so
no, not yet.
We'll let that be to some other people who probably are becoming experts at that.
And what about our currently out?
And out, we are seeing an out of sweetheart tables. So just having a table with the bride and groom. They're fading out. I mean, I still see them at weddings, but they are starting to fade out. That. What are you seeing instead? Like, what are you seeing across the nation of what's happening, Brad?
We're seeing more of the couples. The issue at hand with the Sweethearts table is you're alone, you're isolated. It's separating you from your guests. So we're seeing more couples that either want to share a table with the wedding party, or it's a very brief time if they are at the table, and then it's more mingling. But the fact that oftentimes the way that a venue has it set up, those sweetheart tables are so distant and so isolated from the rest of your guests that we're seeing more venues that are actually getting rid of those based off of requests from the couple, because they don't want that distance. They don't want to feel that, oh, hey, we're clear away from everybody else while the rest of our guests are, trying to be entertained, or they're engaged in other conversations, and then you don't hear any of it because you're so far away from them. So we are seeing more and more that the sweetheart table is starting to be replaced with simply larger group tables or family tables.
I have actually would say I like to see when the family tables too is just because I mean yes it's great you have your bridesmaids and your groomsmen with you at a head table, but a lot of the times I'm seeing a lot of other trends too that they have their own families too, and it's good that they can sit with their families as well, and then you can even have some of your family together too. So there's some great options out there.
So those are our trends that are in drone shows, trends going out, sweetheart tables.
All right. So I guess you're ready to do our talk today.
So we had 2 questions that came in with a Disney theme. So we're going to eventually be addressing both of these questions. The first question that was asked was, which Disney couple is your love most like? And we both, I'm interested to see what Melissa's take is versus mine, because we haven't talked about this.
Nope.
We have not prefaced this. We've not shared this in
Did
any
our
way.
research though.
So we will get to that question here in just a little bit on which Disney couple do I think we're the most similar to in our relationship. And we'll see if Melissa agrees with me or if I'm wrong.
Guess we'll see.
And then our second question then is, which Disney couple do you think has the best relationship? So we started off with some research on this and seeing what the internet had to think about these. So we actually went through numerous different lists, who the best couples were, the rankings that they had for them. And as we went through those, we then compiled all that data, put it into a top 10 list, and quickly found that I really disagree with these lists. Wow. So my interpretation of these are, boy, they are way off, I think. And I'm okay, because we'll talk about some of those
Okay.
on why, at least on why I strongly disagree with some of these rankings. So again, these are not our rankings.
Nope, not our rankings.
These are based off of probably about 15 different magazine articles, internet sites, and then probably another 20 different blogs and we took all that and threw them together.
Okay.
So let's start actually with our honorable mentions. So Melissa, if you'll bring up, let's start with number 12.
Number 12. I'm finding number 12. I do not have a number 12. I start with 11.
Is it really 11?
It's 11.
Oh, maybe it's 11. Okay.
Okay, here's 11. Belle
Yes.
and the Beast.
Okay. Yeah, there's a very good reason as to why I'm not putting this one in my top 10.
It's not in my top 10.
It shouldn't be.
Despite that, I love her dress and I love the
Yes.
scene in the ballroom and I love
the movie. It's a fantastic film.
this
I
site.
love it. It's beautiful. It's a fantastic musical. But I'm not putting them in my top 10 of best relationships
No.
by any means, especially when
Let's-
half of the relationship or the film was based off of her being
trap.
withheld and trapped against her will. That's not romantic.
And then they fall in love.
It is Stockholm Syndrome. It is not romance. So no, I'm not putting that one in
That's not going to hit there for you. Huh?
in my top 10.
No. All right. Number 10, Aladdin and Jasmine.
Again, I don't even like them in my top. They don't even crack my top
They
10.
are not even my top 10. It's the total, like, you lied about who you are.
Right.
And
Your relationship is based off of lies. That's not romance. It's not even healthy. And now granted, I'm just saying, can you overcome that? Absolutely. If there are issues with honesty in a relationship, it can be dealt with. It can be overcome and it can be possible.
what if Jasmine
However,
actually knew the whole time that he really was, and that she actually was in love with him? Like, she knew he was the street urchin. She fell for him then. And
but there's zero evidence
Okay.
of that. And it doesn't change the fact
tried
that
Jasmine,
it doesn't change the fact that he still knew what he was doing.
and he lies.
And yes, and he was constantly lying about it. So, hey, look at that. We have one of our comments that Belle and Beast aren't even top 50.
I love it. I love it.
That's good. I mean,
Yes,
50.
We would love your comments too,
50
everybody.
maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot to have to figure out where I would rank them, but I know they're certainly not in top 10.
Okay, number 9 is from Rapunzel. So it's Rapunzel and Flint. right? Flint.
Flynn.
Flynn,
Flynn
thank you.
Rider,
Flynn
otherwise known as a Eugene.
Yes. I love this movie. Like, there's so many great things about this movie, though. There's some changing in there. There's an important part about the frying pan in here too that I have to later talk about. Um, but I do like this couple, because they're both very determined people who have goals and dreams. But again, there's some deceiving happening there too, and she's this innocent girl who's been trapped in a tower. Let's not. I mean, that's a whole nother story itself, but
And here's where I disagree with this ranking is I would actually put them higher
oh,
than number 9. I think 9 is too low on the list for these two. And the reason is, and why I think it's very different than what we saw with Aladdin. Aladdin was intentionally lying. His deceit came from a place of incredible selfish desires.
true.
I don't think we quite have that with Flynn here.
But he's got Maximus too to help him, like who
Right,
tells
who
him
does help him to actually
he's
make
the
some
best.
better
One of
choices.
the best part in that movie is to teach him how to have better choices and realizes how amazing she is.
Which speaking of that, one that's not on this list, and since we're not going to get to it, I would throw in there that Prince Philip, that we put all this emphasis on the fact that he went through, this huge thorn forest to try to rescue Aurora, but no one gives nearly enough credit to his horse.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everything that he did, his horse did too.
Does his
So
horse even
Maximus
have a name?
was an awesome horse, but I mean, we got to give credit to Philip's horse, who was, without him, Philip doesn't even get to the castle. So just saying.
All right, number 8, Ariel and Prince Eric.
Yeah, I don't have them in my top 10 either. Is it a wonderful story? Is it this pretty? Is there great
my
music
heavens, I
in it?
think
But I
this-
don't like this.
This is one of those when generational, like we had all the old, like you had Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora. Those were the princesses we had in our lives, and then all of a sudden Disney comes out with a new princess. And I think for generational, with those of us who grew up, Ariel was like, oh, she's different. She's a mermaid. And we all, I'm guaranteeing you how many of us used to play that we were mermaids in the swimming pool or wherever. And that's what we did as kids. So we were like, she's a mermaid. And guess what? She loses her voice and she can sing beautiful. And then she loses her voice and she's fallen in love with this human who doesn't actually know who she is, but but he only knows her voice. That's all he knows. And then the deceitfulness of the Ursula that comes along later on. But I mean, as a couple, not really sure. They're not up there on my list either. But
No, there's definitely. I mean, again, I love the movie. I love the music. I think "Kiss the Girl" is one of my favorite moments in a Disney
it's so
film because
beautiful.
it's so well crafted.
yes.
But it doesn't make them a great couple from what we see portrayed within the film.
So
And so some of those reasons is, well, we have, yes, there's this great moment where she rescues him. Well, he wouldn't have even been in that position if she hadn't have, done the stuff that she was doing. Like she caused so many of these issues to begin with.
if they
And it's almost kind of, it's kind of stalkerish if you really look at her
aren't we
behavior.
glad this is Disney version and not the classic
Yeah.
version? It would, I think, if those who do not know the classic version, if you still don't know it, you might want to actually learn the real story.
Yeah,
about
go
them.
read it. It's actually pretty good. But it's very, it's very stalker behavior at the beginning of it, and the way that she's so infatuated with Eric, and it's again not healthy. Does it make for a great story? Absolutely. Great film, sure. Great relationship. I'm gonna say no. I think they're too high. 8 is too high on the list for
you.
them.
Yeah. All right, number 7, Cinderella and Prince Charming. I can't even talk about this one. I don't love it. I love the story. I mean, you know what I love about Cinderella are the mice and the birds and how they help make her dress, and the fairy godmother comes along too. I mean, there's the magic of that.
True.
Relationship wise, at least he realizes he hits a true love first sight. He sees her and realizes he's in love with her, and he's determined to find her. That's a beautiful thing to see, that he will find. He does nothing about her except she doesn't even know her name. She comes to the ball and he never asks her name.
No,
So,
I do, yeah, which is a little weird. I do actually have this one in my top 10.
oh,
Because I am a hopeless romantic at heart, and I
he
actually really like
totally
this
is.
story. I love the fact that she, in the terms of the film, is very common, and she's not necessarily seeking uh, more than just the opportunity. She wanted to be a part of the ball. She wanted to meet the prince. She wanted it wasn't more than that. There wasn't any more grandiose hopes or conniving or deceit. She just wanted to be a part and to be included of the things that she didn't have in her life. And we saw that Prince Charming, that he wasn't like actively. I mean, because you could see there's parts where he just didn't really like the ball. He was going through the motions.
He was the prince. He had to do it.
And but then when he sees her, yeah, there is that instant connection. He's like, well, who is this? And there's a romantic element about Cinderella that I've always loved and always will. So I'm good with them being in that number 7 spot. I actually like that one.
So when we started talking about this, this next one was not. I didn't even think about a couple until I started doing a research. So number 5,
Or number 6.
or number 6, yes, Bo Peep and Woody from Toy Story. Didn't
Right.
even think about that and then I was like, oh my heavens, they are my top. They are in my top 10 for sure. Don't tell me, I won't tell you which spot, but there's just something about how just Bo Peep is just, she puts Woody in the place at the same time, and he realizes he loves her as the story goes on. And plus, we get to see it through different movies over time. And then I don't know. There's just something about the two of them that after I saw this as an idea as a couple, because it wasn't one of those things that right came to my mind. Hey, Bo Peep and Woody are a couple. I don't even think we have the other couple listed in here, but another couple from that movie is Buzz
And Jesse.
and Jesse as well. Yeah, we didn't even list them in there. It's a top 10 or anything.
Yeah.
But it's again those couples you don't think about. Oh yeah, that is a couple, and
Mhm.
they're how they support each other and they're stuck together because they're the toys. So
Yeah.
I mean, I like them.
And
They're
there
feel
and,
good.
and for me there's some things here of where I don't really know about this one on how I feel. One, I don't think we got really enough of the relationship side for me to rank them that high in what we have in the films. And we also, I mean, we do see definitely there's some jealousy issue
Yes.
there with Woody as
Yes.
well. So I think there's some things that were written well. I don't know if it's well enough in that relationship that I would put it at number 6. But I do. I like them as a couple. I think it's cute. It's good. It works. And then we see some good things in the films portrayed. But I just don't think there's enough that would allow me to put it this high on the list. So,
Okay, number 5,
all right. Number 5 is another one that I disagree with.
Roger and Anita from 101 Dalmatians. I don't even know why you put it in the top 10 either. I mean, they're a couple, but this movie doesn't even talk about them as a couple. It talks about the dogs as a couple, not these two. So I don't even, when I was looking and researching couples as well, and it popped up and I went, well, they could be a couple that's good, but we don't really see the depth of anything in that relationship. It's about the dogs.
It is. But
But
here's
okay.
where I disagree at number 5 because these are in my top 3. I love Anita and Roger. They're number
Oh.
3 on my list.
I think it's
I
so
think
funny.
it's the accidental meeting. It's
It wasn't
the,
accidental. The dogs did it.
right, but it's accidental for them. They don't know that. And it's the way that they communicate, the love that's portrayed. I absolutely love this couple.
I love
They
it.
are phenomenal. They're one that I just, when it comes to any Disney film, they are number 3 on my list. I love them so much.
All right. Number 4. This is one of mine. Wally and Eve. Oh, I'm going to tear up on that one. Yeah, that's up there. Oh my, why am I crying over that? It's the picture. For those who can't see, it's so cute. It's
She offers her the boot
Oh,
with the plant in it.
I'm crying over this. If you're just listening, yep, that's my voice getting.
Now, I will say that one of the super impressive things with this film, it's not just the relationship. It's the fact that they wrote it so well with so few words.
Yes. Yes.
That's tough, and they absolutely nail this. Again, am I going to have them this high on the list? Probably not. I know Melissa will. We'll differ on that.
We
But
will. And
again, it
again,
is so well written. This movie, Wally, was just an excellently well written film from start to finish.
it's a beautiful story. I mean, it's hard for, I think, children to get into. But I will say that it was not a couple I thought of when we first got this question. That is not one that popped right into my head. Again, it was research, and then I was like, it's up there. Just that his devotion to her, and then how she.
And I think it's her character development, which
Yes.
is really tough to show from that standpoint with so few words in
Yes.
this film. But the way that we see her initial programming to then change throughout the film, and seeing this budding relationship, which was so well put together with then again that image that was shown with the offering of the plant, which we see the growing of the plant, which is also then a metaphor for their growing relationship. It was just so well written and just beautiful, man.
It's why I want to plant more.
So
Plants.
good.
That's it. Number 3, Mickey and Minnie.
You got to go with the classic. Like it's
It's a classic.
it's the long running relationship, the cuteness, the sustainability. It's just, I mean, yeah, they're definitely top 10. Yeah, they got to be.
They're just in the top 10. It's Disney. It's a foundation of where they're at. Mickey and Minnie, and we just so you all know, when I see them in person, I freak out. You can ask many people. I get excited
We take pictures with them every
every
single time.
every time I can. Yep. They're just there's something about Mickey and Minnie. So, I mean, if Tinkerbell had a person to be with too, then I would probably, because that's not a couple with anybody, but she's also one that I get excited to see too.
True.
So Mickey and Minnie, they're just up there in that top 10. They fit. I think it's just a couple that's also classic that people think Disney, they think Mickey and Minnie too.
Right, but why? Because that's one of the things. If I'm really looking at their relationship, the longevity of it, I think, is wonderful because it's always been portrayed. I think it's great. But there's not really like that film or something. I mean, we see these moments of their relationship. We see the tenderness, we see the caring, but it's really hard to almost pinpoint, like, well, this episode of this show or this version of this one really shows their relationship. So I think that's a little harder to narrow down because we don't have the single film opportunity like we do with the others.
Yeah. All right, number 2, Lady and
Lady
Tramp.
and Tramp.
Come on, that's just classic. Plain and simple. I mean,
I think I was surprised that when we took this data together that these two ranked so high.
they do. I just
I think can you put them top 10? Well, sure. I think we see this element of opposites attract, different worlds, but is that really any different than what we see from Thomas O'Malley, in the Aristocats,
Yeah.
and we see that. I think that's in a lot of films.
Yes.
This element of opposites, of two different worlds or wrong side of the tracks. So I don't know really why Lady and Tramp are so high.
I think it's a classic. It's because it's a classic story that people have grown up with over time, and probably who was served it, and then they just
Changes the way everybody eats spaghetti.
It totally does, and how we eat spaghetti. All right, number 1 on these lists, of course, comes from Up. It's
Carl and Ellie.
Okay, so let's all just, those of you, if you for some reason have never seen Up, you better just stop yourself and go get a box of tissues and watch the beginning. That's all. I mean, that was no idea what Up was about when we went to see this movie, saw this. Wish we had tissues just for that opening scene, because you just saw the love between Ellie and Carl, and see, I'll cry again. Oh,
and so with this one being up at number 1, the only thing that for me that I would say that is difficult for me to put as the number 1 relationship of Disney animated films is we didn't get to see enough.
I think
you see just this tiny montage of their life together, and that's it. Like I would be fine with a whole series.
It would be so cool to see that.
Of seeing what their life was, because
was Carl always grumpy, or does he become grumpy because Ellie is gone? Like,
yeah, you see that how jaded he is because she was his world, and I want to know more of that story.
Yeah.
There's not nearly enough.
But
of their story.
I think that's the magic of when they made Pixar
It
and
was
Disney.
well written, absolutely.
Again, we're mixing Pixar and Disney together. It's all the same, right? But coming together for that was,
I wish we had more.
I agree.
And again, so that's why I'd say it's hard for me to put that at number one because I don't have enough information of it because we don't really see their relationship. We see moments within their relationship in that montage, and it's just not enough for me to go on. Do I absolutely love it? Yes. Do I still cry every single time I watch it? Yes.
Yes.
But it's just not enough for me, and I wish I had more because I think their story is just absolutely beautiful.
It is beautiful. I love it. I do love that. Okay.
So, with that now said, let's hit up that question then, Melissa. Which Disney couple do you think our love is most like,
Okay.
and why? That's the important part, is the why.
You didn't make me say that I had to do the why. You just said, okay, so I'm going to start off with when immediately this question went, my immediate was right here, The Incredibles. I was like, we are The Incredibles. Because she puts up with his craziness. But I think it's just because I relate so much to Elastigirl. Not more of Elastigirl, but when she's Helen and her counterpart, and then Helen part, and he's Bob.
Just Bob.
He's Bob. Because Bob is trying to figure out who he is, and I think about that with you, Brad, is when we were going through, starting our marriage and figuring out what you want to do. Did you want to be a full-time actor, or you decided to be a teacher? And then he's unhappy in his job, but he has this awesome career as Mr. Incredible, but he can't tell people that, and it's just like, I don't know, there's just something about the relationship that they work together and go on new adventures together, and it's always exciting. They don't know what's going to expect, and we go on a lot of adventures together. So I was like, I feel a lot of that connection there. So
Okay.
that was my first like immediate thought, like, oh, we're The Incredibles.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And here is my pick of which couple that I think we're most like, which should be in the top 10, I also think, and that is Meg and Hercules.
I think you picked it because it's that first movie we watched together.
Well,
First
see,
Disney movie.
And I didn't even think about that. Honestly, I didn't
Okay.
put that in consideration. Do I love this movie? Yes. But when I look at the relationship, and here's why I think that their relationship is so similar to ours, is when we look at the two characters, especially of when they met and when they fell in love. So
I like that.
we have Meg, who by the time that Hercules and Meg are kind of in the picture together in the film,
She's done being in love.
yes,
That would
she's
be me.
had her
I
heart
was done.
broken. I know that Melissa was like, yeah, I'm kind of fed up. I'm done with this. I'm not dating. She even told her mom at Christmas.
I'm done dating. I did. I totally did. I said, I'm done dating. I want to get done with school. I'm ready to move on. Dating is such stressfulness. And then along comes.
And there's this innocence, near say almost an ignorance that came with Hercules that he just didn't understand. He got this hero thing that he's working on, but he didn't understand relationships. And for me, in that same, I didn't date a lot. I think I was ever been in love before, so it was still really new to me in that aspect. And I think it's also the fact that we see that Hercules, I think, fell a little bit faster and quicker than it took Meg some time
Oh,
to.
you really thought about this one. Good job.
And it was. I think I was pretty quickly smitten, and even
Twitter
said,
pated.
"I love you" first.
He totally did. And I was like, I don't know if I can say that yet.
And so yeah, that's that part in the film. At least not
won't
out
say-
loud. I
yeah,
won't say
say
I'm in
I'm in
love.
love.
And man, that's one of my all-time favorite Disney songs.
I think we'll be
of the
totally be
entire-
watching
oh,
this movie.
Love it.
And this show is just a side note is working on becoming a Broadway musical. Like it's in
Which we were able to see
and I know-
off Broadway
yes,
last year.
but that's a whole
and-
nother thing. But
yeah.
it's still in the process of being worked on.
It's got some things to fix, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be ready very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
So
all right,
so
now
we said Mr. and Mrs. Incredible, and Meg and Hercules. Interesting.
all right. So now let's see if we match up our answers for this next
Okay.
one, which is which Disney couple do you think has the best relationships? You have all those top 10 that we've had our honorable mentions, or even ones that didn't even crack the top 10. Which one do you think, Melissa, actually shows on film the healthiest, best relationship from a Disney film?
Okay, so this one took me a little time I had to do research. I actually made us watch this movie this week because, and Brad's like, why? I said, I have to do research. So
Okay.
I hope
Okay.
it wasn't a giveaway, but I was like trying to figure out, because I was doing my research of looking at all these couples, and this one popped up, and I was like, And I also had a daughter who kind of was learning and said, well, we chatted about it, and she says, I think that she thinks this couple, I think, is more of us.
Hmm.
I know, I thought Chica
Oh, okay.
and Pacha, did I say it
Mhm.
right? From Emperor's New Groove. Okay, so watching this, didn't really care about the rest of the movie. I kept watching the scenes with them. And again, here comes the frying pan. She's back with the frying pan. She hit that frying pan. I think they gave us a hint for Rapunzel early on. She hits the Emperor as the llama with the frying pan. But there's also a line in there where the kids go, Mom, you're always right. And Dad knows it, even though Dad, he comes home to the safety of his wife and family and traveling, and there's a time in our lives that I was a stay-at-home mom, and I, in this movie she's pregnant with the third child, but there's that whole thing that Brad knows home is the best place and coming home to his family. And so watching their relationship, even though it's short little throughout the story, there's just something about the way she's like, I'll protect you and you're going to protect me, and I don't know, their relationship was just so beautiful just in that short time that they're on film together. But
Yeah.
again, it's just a little clip here, a little here, a little here. And I think I'd have never watched the extra. I know there's Emperor's Part 2, and I think there was the whole cartoon series. I don't know if they have more scenes together or anything. I didn't really.
Yeah, because I've never watched them, so I don't
I
really know.
didn't. I know I watched number 2, but I didn't get into this movie. It was kind of one of those. It came out, we enjoyed it, but it wasn't one that I watched a ton. And after watching it, I laughed a ton, didn't I? I was like
Yeah.
laughing over some of the stuff in there, and it could be because I recognize better also the actors who played these roles,
Yes.
and they work so well together on.
Yeah, the voice acting
Yes.
in that film's phenomenal.
Yeah, so those were who I thought was a very good relationship, functioning
Okay.
well together.
So again, we'd love to hear if you please share your comments. Let us know. We'd love to know which couple do you think that you and your significant other, your partner, are the most like, or which couple do you think is portrayed? And as we get to my answer, which Disney couple do I think has the best relationship? I know some may argue with this. Melissa may think I'm absolutely crazy, but my favorite, best relationship shown in any Disney film goes to Sergeant Calhoun and Fix-It Felix.
Okay, so Brad, this didn't even come on my radar, so I don't even think it came up in anywhere saying as a couple, but you actually do all the time talk about how much you love this couple. I can't believe it didn't even come up on my radar.
Absolutely love. I think
Tell us all why.
Well, obviously we know we've got the trauma that Sergeant Calhoun is overcoming with even the fact that she was at the altar on her wedding day and her fiance is killed. That's a pretty tragic, terrible thing, which would be easy to write off any relationship from ever being possible again. Like that is
It's true.
one of the most, tragic elements as far as relationship wise goes that is shown in any of the Disney films. We know that you've got to have conflict, and we see lots of conflict with death being portrayed in Disney films because it helps set up for obviously the storylines. And so with this one, it would have been easy, like, oh well, she had this terrible traumatic event happen, and so she's not seeking for that relationship. She's not looking for it when Felix comes along, and Felix is smitten quick, early, and is just absolutely head over heels. I think my favorite line of his that he says is when he says, "She gives me the honey glow, something awful." And I love seeing his dedication, his commitment, that he loves her unconditionally. There's nothing that he's asking for in response, even when she shows no interest at first. It doesn't matter because he is going to care about her. He's going to do whatever he can to make her happy, even if it's not with him. And I love that dedication, that commitment. I think that the way that these two, who had no business being together, having no purpose with one another, they were brought together by just sheer happenstance. There's so much of it that I love about these two. It just makes me happy.
Well, I think this was a great episode, like, of ideas. And so one of the things that we also thought was really cool is when this came up as an idea for us to do as a talk about the different I'm taking, different things is so we were in Disney. We've been in Disney a bazillion times and we are also big. Okay, more me is about the mouse ears. Like I again, this is a longer episode than our normal time. We're making up for being 2 weeks apart too. But for those seeing on it, look at the ears that we had to buy this week. Oh my heavens, check it out. Like look at them. I don't know if you can see them. Like
we have the
bride and groom
the
ears.
bride veil and the groom tuxedo.
They look terrible
ears.
on top of headphones. I'll have to do a picture of them, but it took we had to find these. Like we were asking people. I learned actually a lot of things.
Happily ever after.
You can't really tell, like, it says happily ever after on the bride ones and they have the train. But I'm so excited. It took, 26 years and we finally get the mouse ears. Of course, our first mouse ears are just they're the Mouseketeer ears, but and then over time, if you guys know Disney, it's like the big thing, like how many different ears are there out there? There's so many and there's limited ones and ones I'm searching for still. So, but anyway, we were super excited for that too. So,
well, we look forward. Let us know what you think of the list and our answers to those 2 questions. We'd love to hear your responses, and we look forward to learning more. And again, keep those questions coming for our talk sections. We appreciate as we get these questions. It allows us to kind of a little introspective to our own relationship, and plus it lets us have some wonderful conversations with you as well.
And we know what some movies we're going to be going to watch for our date nights coming up. So
absolutely.
Anyway, so in life's journey, every ending is a new beginning.
Thank you for joining the I Love You 3000 podcast. We hope you feel an authentic excitement for celebrating life's events and learned a few details about what it takes to find the right people, place, and passion so you and your guests can feel renewed and ready to find the joy in every single moment. If you loved this episode as much as we did, give us a follow and we'll invite you back. And if you just want more, go to phonystarkindustries.com. Remember, saying I love you is a gift, and the details are just as important as the words.